What's up, fish friends? Hope everyone's having a great day. I'm pumped to be talking about cherry barbs today. I have really fond memories of keeping this awesome fish as a kid. They are a stunning little fish that's super active and extremely hardy. If you take good care of them, they'll live up to 7 years and provide you with tons of entertainment. You might even get to watch them breed. Follow along as I cover everything you need to know about caring for cherry barbs. Cherry barbs, Puntillas titea, grow to 1.5 or 2 inches long, 4 to 5 centimeters. Females have broader bodies and are brown with red fins. The lateral stripe that runs down their sides is a lot more pronounced on the females. Males look pretty different. They are a little more slender and longer finned, but get way redder with age. Their colors get really vibrant during mating season in particular. There are some different varieties of the cherry barb that include long-finned and albinos, but for the most part, it's just plain old cherry barbs that are available, at least where I live. This is a very outgoing and active fish. If you're looking for someone who's going to be spending a lot of time out and about, then this is a terrific fish to consider. They'll explore all parts of the tank from the top to the bottom and constantly be on the move. When you first pick up a bunch of cherry barbs, they'll spend a lot of time schooling together, especially if they're younger ones or if there are lots of bigger fish in the aquarium. As they get older, or if there are no big tank bosses around, their behavior will likely change quite a bit. Mature males like to carve out little territories, with the biggest ones getting the nicest spots in the tank. Nice spots meaning heavily vegetated areas where females like to lay eggs. They do spend a lot of time defending their territories from other males who get close, and even other species of fish sometimes. They'll dart out and circle around each other, lashing out a bit, but not really causing any harm. When the females get close, the males will really try hard to get their attention. Sometimes a little too hard, in my opinion. I don't think I'm the only one who feels that way, because the ladies tend to group up and spend a lot of time away from the males' territories, around the sandy, leafy, rocky areas. It's a good idea to get more females than males so that they don't feel singled out by the males. 2 to 1 is a good ratio, but even if you have a few more females than males, that would still be a good idea. Cherry barbs come from Sri Lanka. In the wild, they can be found living in slow-moving streams and rivers with lots of overhanging trees. Shade cover is an important part of their natural habitat. A typical substrate would be silty sand with scattered leaves. When thinking about how large a tank to get for your cherry barbs, it's important to remember that you'll want to be getting quite a few of them. A lot of people will say that you can keep them in a 10-gallon, but if you're going to be getting a dozen of them, I'd recommend starting with a 29 or 100-liter fish tank, maybe even more if you got the space. This is a 4-foot or 75-gallon fish tank that they're in now, and they use up all the space. Unlike a lot of tetras or danios that form that extremely tight school, cherry barbs space out a lot more. You really do get to enjoy more of that natural fish behavior when you give them more space. This is such a hardy fish that could easily do well in a tank with plastic decor. If you wanted to get the most out of them, then consider decking their tank out with some natural surroundings like wood, rocks, and tons of live plants. Having a portion of the tank remain sandy and open with some scattered leaves is a great aesthetic, and it also helps to mimic the cherry barb's natural environment. Leaves are definitely not essential, but I've become a huge fan of them in recent years. Leaves will lower the pH ever so slightly, but I wouldn't count on them to make a significant difference. Really, the great thing about leaves is that they add an extra organic element to the tank. Biofilm forms on the leaves, which fish love to pick at. Then they start to break down into detritus, which cherry barbs and tons of other fish love to sift through. If you want a clean look on your sand, you'll need to siphon out the broken down leaf material before adding new ones on. Using dark substrate and or a dark background is a trick that a lot of people use to help bring that vibrant red color out of the cherry barbs. I've opted for the black background in this tank with the light substrate because I'm not a fan of dark sand, and these guys are still really stunning looking. One thing I have noticed with setups is that you're likely to get a lot more breeding activity and offspring survival with heavier plant loads. This tank is a recent upgrade from a 40-year-old aquarium. It was a 60-gallon, and that tank was decked out in plants to the max. The cherry barbs bred in it all the time, and quite a few of the fry survived to adulthood. Granted, it's only been a few months since setting up this new rendition of the tank, but I haven't seen any offspring yet. This is an extremely hardy fish that can tolerate a wide range of conditions. When people tell me that they're setting up their first aquarium, this is the fish that I recommend. Nevertheless, it's a good idea to be kind to your critters and try and stay within a healthy range for them. Temp: 72 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 to 27 Celsius. Even if you keep them on the cooler end, they'll still show a lot of bright coloration. pH: slightly acidic to slightly basic, 6 to 8. General hardness: 5 to 15 degrees. KH: 3 to 15 degrees. Ammonia: 0. Nitrites: 0. And nitrates, keep them under 30 if you can. Flow: medium to low is a good idea. They do not appreciate tons of flow, but they do come from streams and rivers in the wild, so they don't appreciate completely stagnant water. Cherry barbs are hardy fish that do well in a wide variety, including high-tech tanks with intense lighting and CO2 to very low-tech setups. Like many barbs, cherry barbs are omnivores. In the wild, they enjoy eating a lot of small bugs and crustaceans, as well as bits of algae and detritus. In the aquarium, they are not picky eaters at all. They will quickly learn to accept most any type of food that you give them. These guys in the tank eat almost completely flake food with the occasional frozen mysis or brine shrimp meal. It's a good idea to give them some sort of vegetables like peas or broccoli if they'll eat it. If not, algae wafers are a great alternative. Like most fish, it's a good idea to switch it up and try different foods as often as you can. Live foods like freshly hatched brine shrimp, daphnia, grindle worms, mosquito larvae, and scuds are all terrific choices. Cherry barbs are pretty peaceful fish, and they make an excellent addition to most any community aquarium. They're often described as being one of the most peaceful aquarium fish you can get for a freshwater aquarium. I don't know that I'd go that far. After all, they are a barb and can get a little territorial, particularly the males. They'll often lash out at passerbys that go by their territories, but they're mostly superficial squabbles. They're not really hurting other fish when they do this. Because of that and their very high activity level, they might not be a good fit for small, timid fish like chili rasboras or some dwarf rainbows like Gertrudes, for example. They are still fine to keep with nanofish. I just encourage people to mix them with more boisterous ones like Kubotai rasboras or Endler guppies. Cherry barbs are safe to keep with cherry shrimp and Amano shrimp. I've seen cherry barbs eat baby shrimp, so keep that in mind if you are keen on breeding out your shrimp colony to the max. Even though there are around 20 cherry barbs in this tank, the shrimp still manage to breed all the time, so it's not like they're gonna put a huge dent in the shrimp population. Cherry barbs are one of the easiest fish to breed in captivity, aside from live bears, of course. Part of that is due to the willingness of the adults to breed and a relatively high survival rate. It's not uncommon for cherry barbs to breed in established aquariums like this one, and for quite a few of the fry to make it to adulthood. The best way to encourage your cherry barbs to breed is to keep them well fed with a variety of different foods, including some frozen and live foods. A little trick to trigger spawning is to do a decent sized water change and lower the temperature of the incoming water very slightly. If you want to maximize the survival rate of offspring, set up a spawning/rearing tank with a sponge filter and heater. There should be lots of vegetation for egg laying. Mosses and ferns, in particular, are great because of how dense and leafy they are. You'll have to keep an eye on them to watch for spawning or look for eggs in the tank. After you see eggs, pull the parents from the tank because they will eat the fry as soon as they start to hatch. Fry should be fed extremely small foods like first bites from hikari, moina, or freshly hatched baby brine shrimp, maybe 3 to 4 days after they hatch. Take good care of them, and they'll grow up in no time. Well, that's it for cherry barbs. Let me know if you have any questions. If you made it this far in the video, consider supporting me and my channel by all the usual stuff. You know, we always talk about it, subscribing and liking and stuff, but it really does help. Most of all, check out some of my other videos. Got tons of other care guides and builds. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time, see ya.